August 17, 1952. 2:47 a.m. Harlem, New York. 3 Cadillacs roll down Lenox Avenue with their headlights off. Inside, 12 men wearing white hoods carry loaded shotguns. Their target, 409 Edgecombe Avenue, apartment 8F, the home of Ellsworth Raymond Johnson, the man Harlem calls Bumpy. The Klan made one critical mistake that night. They thought he was just another black man they could terrorize. They had no idea they were about to knock on the door of the most dangerous man in New York City. The lead car stops 50 feet from the building. Engines still running. A man in the passenger seat checks his watch. 2:51 a.m. Perfect timing. Most people are asleep. The streets are empty. No witnesses. This is how the Klan operates. Strike fast. Strike hard. Disappear into the night. They've done this 847 times across America in the past 2 years. Burned crosses. Beaten families. Murdered men in front of their children. Tonight was supposed to be number 848. 6 men step out of the Cadillacs. White robes dragging on the pavement. The smallest one carries a wooden cross wrapped in kerosene-soaked rags. The tallest one, 6'4", 240 pounds, carries a Louisville Slugger baseball bat. His name is Vernon Shaw, Grand Dragon of the New York chapter. He's been planning this for 3 weeks. Ever since Bumpy Johnson refused to pay protection money to white businesses in Harlem. If you want the full truth about what happened that night, hit like so this story reaches more people who need to understand how one man changed everything. Shaw signals to his men. They move toward the building entrance. Silent. Calculated. Professional terrorists. They've rehearsed this exact scenario 14 times. Walk in. Climb to the 8th floor. Knock on the door. When someone answers, push inside. Teach them a lesson they'll never forget. Leave the burning cross in the living room. The message is clear, we can reach you anywhere. But here's what Vernon Shaw didn't know. At that exact moment, on the 8th floor, Bumpy Johnson sits in his favorite leather chair. Wide awake. A .45 caliber pistol on his right side. A Thompson submachine gun on his left. And 43 men positioned throughout the building. Some in the lobby. Some in the stairwells. Some on the roof. Some in apartments on every floor. They've been there since 10 p.m. Because Bumpy Johnson doesn't get surprised. Ever. 3 days earlier, a bartender at the Cotton Club overheard 2 white men talking. They mentioned Edgecombe Avenue. They mentioned teaching someone a lesson. They mentioned 2 a.m. on Saturday. The bartender's name was Marcus Webb. He owed Bumpy his life. 2 years ago, Bumpy paid for Marcus's daughter's hospital bills when she needed surgery. $3,400. He never asked for it back. So when Marcus heard those men talking, he walked 5 blocks in the rain to tell Bumpy everything. Bumpy made 3 phone calls. That's all it took. Within 2 hours, he knew exactly who was coming. Vernon Shaw. 12 Klan members. 3 cars. He knew the route they'd take. He knew what weapons they'd carry. He even knew which apartment they'd target. Because Bumpy Johnson didn't just run Harlem. He owned every piece of information that moved through it. Every whisper. Every rumor. Every threat. Now let me take you back 6 months to understand why the Klan wanted Bumpy dead. January 1952. A group of white businessmen start buying properties in Harlem. They offer black families pennies for buildings worth thousands. When families refuse to sell, strange things happen. Windows get smashed. Stores get robbed. Fires break out. The police do nothing. Because the businessmen are paying them $500 a week to look the other way. Comment justice if you believe what Bumpy did next was right. One of these businessmen makes a critical error. He tries to force Mrs. Eleanor Hayes to sell her bakery. The same bakery that's been in her family for 32 years. The same bakery where Bumpy bought bread every Sunday morning since he was 14 years old. When Mrs. Hayes refuses, 2 men show up at midnight. They pour gasoline around her building. They're about to light a match when Bumpy's cousin James walks by. He runs 6 blocks to find Bumpy. Takes him 11 minutes. Bumpy arrives with 8 men. The 2 arsonists are still there. Laughing. Drinking whiskey. Celebrating. They don't see Bumpy coming until it's too late. What happens next, I can't describe in detail. But those two men never walk the same way again. And Mrs. Hayes's bakery never gets touched. The message spreads through Harlem faster than fire. Touch our community, face Bumpy Johnson. The white businessmen panic. They can't compete with someone who has the entire neighborhood's loyalty. They can't bribe him. They can't scare him. So they call in outside help. The Ku Klux Klan. Vernon Shaw meets with the businessmen at a private club in Manhattan. They offer him $10,000 to eliminate Bumpy Johnson. Shaw smiles. He's been wanting to expand Klan operations in Harlem anyway. This gives him the perfect excuse. Shaw spends 2 weeks studying Bumpy's routine. Where he eats breakfast. Where he plays cards. Where he visits on Sunday afternoons. Shaw notices something important. Every Tuesday night, Bumpy comes home alone around midnight. No bodyguards. No crew. Just him. Shaw decides Tuesday is too predictable. Bumpy might expect trouble on his routine nights. Saturday at 2 a.m. is better. Random. Unexpected. Nobody sees it coming. Except Bumpy sees everything coming. Because while Shaw is watching Bumpy, Bumpy's people are watching Shaw. A waitress at the club where Shaw meets the businessmen. A janitor who empties Shaw's office trash. A taxi driver who hears conversations. Bumpy has eyes everywhere. By the time Shaw finalizes his plan, Bumpy knows every detail. The date, the time, the number of men, everything. Here's where Bumpy's genius shows. He doesn't call the police. He doesn't run. He doesn't hide. Instead, he prepares the perfect trap. He gathers 43 of his most trusted men. Not thugs. Not criminals. Regular Harlem residents. Store owners. Factory workers. Fathers. Grandfathers. Men who've lived their entire lives under the shadow of racism. Men who are tired of being afraid. Bumpy gives each man a simple instruction. Show up Saturday night. Protect your home. Type yes if you want to see what happened when those Klan members walked into Bumpy's building. August 17, 1952. 2:52 a.m. The 6 Klan members enter the building lobby. The door isn't locked. Strange. Usually apartment buildings in Harlem keep their doors locked after midnight. Shaw should have questioned this. He doesn't. Arrogance blinds him. He assumes fear keeps that door open. He's wrong. Strategy keeps that door open. The lobby is dark. Only one light bulb works. Flickering. Creating shadows. Shaw's men spread out. 2 head toward the elevator. For start climbing the stairs. Shaw follows the stair group. He wants to be there when they break down Bumpy's door. He wants to see the fear in Bumpy's eyes. He's imagined this moment for 3 weeks. The great Bumpy Johnson, begging for mercy. First floor. Nothing. Second floor. Nothing. Third floor. Still nothing. Shaw's confidence grows with each step. This is easier than he thought. No guards. No resistance. Maybe Bumpy isn't as powerful as everyone says. Maybe the stories are exaggerated. 4th floor. Shaw hears something. A cough. He freezes. His men stop. They listen. Silence. Shaw decides it's nothing. Just someone in their apartment. They keep climbing. 5th floor. The stairwell door opens. An old man steps out. Gray hair. Wearing pajamas. He looks at the Klan members. Shows no fear. No surprise. He just nods. Says 4 words. Y'all right on time. Then he disappears back through the door. Shaw's stomach tightens. Something feels wrong. But he's too deep now. He can't turn back. His reputation depends on completing this mission. 6th floor. More sounds. Footsteps above them. Footsteps below them. Shaw stops his men. He listens carefully. The footsteps aren't random. They're synchronized. Moving with purpose. Shaw finally realizes the truth. They're not hunting Bumpy Johnson. Bumpy Johnson is hunting them. But it's too late. 7th floor. Every apartment door opens simultaneously. Men step into the hallway. 21 men. Each one holding something. Baseball bats. Tire irons. Hammers. Wrenches. Tools that built Harlem. Tools that will now defend it. The Klan members raise their guns. Shaw yells. Back up or we shoot. Nobody moves. Nobody backs up, because these men aren't afraid of death anymore. They're afraid of living in fear. The man in the center speaks. His name is Robert Big Train Miller. 6'6". Former heavyweight boxer. He fought Joe Louis once. Lasted 9 rounds. He looks at Vernon Shaw and says 6 words that echo through history. You in our house now, devil? Share this video so more people understand what real courage looks like. Shaw makes his decision. He aims his shotgun at Big Train. His finger touches the trigger. That's when the lights come on. Every single light in the building. 8th floor, 7th floor, 6th floor, 5th floor. Right? Blinding. Shaw squints. That's when he sees them. More men on the floor below. More men on the floor above. More men in the lobby. More men on the roof. Everywhere. At least 40 men. Maybe 50. Shaw can't count them all. He just knows he's surrounded. Then the 8th floor door opens. Bumpy Johnson steps out. Alone. No gun. No weapon. Just a 3-piece suit and a fedora. He walks slowly down the stairs. His footsteps echo. Each step deliberate. Powerful. The 43 men part like the Red Sea, giving Bumpy a clear path to Vernon Shaw. The 2 men stand face to face. 5 feet apart. Shaw still has his shotgun. He could pull the trigger right now. End this. But his hands are shaking. Because Bumpy Johnson isn't showing fear. He's showing disappointment. Bumpy speaks. His voice is quiet. Controlled. You made 3 mistakes tonight, Vernon. First, you thought you could scare me. Second, you thought I was alone. Third, you thought this was my home. Shaw's face goes pale. Bumpy continues. This building has 127 residents. 34 families. 89 children. You are going to burn a cross in a hallway where children sleep. Where grandmothers pray. Where people who've never hurt anyone try to find peace. Bumpy steps closer. I could kill you right now. Every man here wants me to. They've earned that right. But I'm not going to kill you. Because killing you makes you a martyr. Your people would use your death to justify more violence. More terror. More burning crosses. I'm smarter than that. If this shocked you, comment legend below. Bumpy signals to his men. They grab the 6 Klan members. Strip them of their robes. Take their weapons. The men underneath the hoods look ordinary. Without their costumes, they're just cowards. Bumpy has his men take photographs. Clear pictures of each face. Addresses. Places of employment. Everything. Then he makes them an offer they can't refuse. Here's what happens next, Bumpy says. You're going to walk out of this building. You're going to get in your cars. You're going to drive back to whatever hole you crawled out of. And you're never coming back to Harlem. Not for business. Not for revenge. Not for anything. Because if I see any of you north of 96th Street again, these photographs go to every newspaper in New York. The Daily News. The Times. The Amsterdam News. Everyone will know your faces. Your families will know what you are. Your bosses will know what you do at night. Your churches will know you're terrorists. Shaw tries to speak. Bumpy cuts him off. I'm not finished. You're also going to spread a message to every Klan chapter from here to Alabama. Tell them Harlem is protected. Tell them Bumpy Johnson doesn't negotiate with terrorists. Tell them what happened tonight. Tell them how 43 black men stood their ground while 6 white cowards begged for mercy. Make sure they understand. The next group that comes here won't leave walking. Big Train and 3 others escort the Klan members down the stairs. Down 8 flights. Past families watching from doorways. Past children who will remember this night forever. Past grandmothers who say prayers of thanks. The Klan members keep their eyes down. Ashamed. Defeated. Humiliated. Outside, the other 6 Klan members wait by the cars. They see their brothers without robes. Without weapons. Without dignity. They know immediately. The mission failed. Vernon Shaw gets in his Cadillac. Starts the engine. Drives away. He never returns to Harlem. Not once in the remaining 23 years of his life. The photographs stay hidden in Bumpy's safe. An insurance policy. A reminder. A warning. The Klan never attempts another operation in Harlem during Bumpy's lifetime. Not one. Word spreads through black communities across America. Harlem stood up. Harlem fought back. Harlem won. The story gets bigger with each telling. Some say there were 100 men in that building. Some say 200. The exact number doesn't matter. What matters is the message. Unity defeats terror. Courage defeats cowardice. One man with a plan defeats 12 men with guns. 3 weeks later, the white businessmen trying to buy Harlem properties suddenly lose interest. Their funding disappears. Their investors back out. Their plans crumble. Bumpy never says a word to them directly. He doesn't need to. The message is clear. Touch Harlem, face consequences. Mrs. Eleanor Hayes keeps her bakery for another 18 years. She sells it in 1970 for $47,000. She retires comfortably. Every Sunday until Bumpy dies in 1968, she saves him 2 pieces of lemon pound cake. His favorite. She never charges him. He never asks for free food. But she insists. It's her way of saying thank you. For that night. For standing up. For protecting a community that had been beaten down for generations. The 43 men who stood in that building that night never talk about it publicly. It becomes an unspoken bond. A shared secret. When they see each other on the street, they nod. They know. They were there. They faced the Klan. They didn't back down. That knowledge carries them through every hardship that follows. Every racist insult. Every unfair treatment. Every moment of injustice. Because they remember that night. They remember being brave. Robert Big Train Miller frames the photograph Bumpy gave him. The one showing all 6 Klan members without their hoods. He hangs it in his living room. When his grandchildren ask about it years later, he tells them the truth. These men thought they could scare us. They thought we'd run. They thought wrong. Your grandfather stood with Bumpy Johnson and 42 other men who decided fear stops here. Now let me tell you what history books won't. What mainstream America doesn't want to acknowledge. Bumpy Johnson wasn't a saint. He ran illegal gambling. He moved heroin. He broke laws. But in that moment, on that night, he was exactly what Harlem needed. A protector. A strategist. A man willing to stand between his community and terror. That complexity is what makes him legendary. Not perfect. Not innocent. But powerful when it mattered most. The Klan members who survived that night carry the shame forever. Some quit the organization. Some move to different states. Some drink themselves to death trying to forget. Vernon Shaw dies in 1975 from a heart attack. The last thing he tells his son is a warning. Stay out of Harlem. Stay away from men like Bumpy Johnson. Some battles you can't win. Comment respect if you understand why Bumpy's strategy was brilliant. Here's the lesson that transcends gang culture and enters the realm of pure strategy. Bumpy Johnson understood something most people miss. Real power isn't about violence. It's about preparation. It's about information. It's about knowing your enemy better than they know themselves. The Klan spent 2 weeks studying Bumpy's routine. Bumpy spent those same 2 weeks preparing 43 men. Training them. Organizing them. Creating a defense so strong that violence became unnecessary. Think about the psychology. The Klan arrives expecting fear. They find courage. They expect isolation. They find community. They expect an easy target. They find a fortress. That mental defeat is more powerful than any physical confrontation. Vernon Shaw could have shot Bumpy that night. He had the weapon. He had the opportunity. But Bumpy broke his will first. Made him understand the cost. Made him calculate the consequences. Made him choose survival over pride. This is the genius of Bumpy Johnson. He didn't just win that night. He prevented future attacks. He protected families for years to come. He sent a message that echoed through criminal networks and racist organizations alike. Harlem is different. Harlem fights back. Harlem has Bumpy Johnson. That reputation alone saved lives. How many crosses never got burned because of what happened on August 17, 1952? We'll never know. But the number isn't zero. The story also reveals something about community power. Those 43 men weren't professional fighters. They were regular people. But united under one leader with one purpose, they became unstoppable. The Klan relied on fear and surprise. Bumpy relied on organization and loyalty. In that building on that night, loyalty won. Community won. Preparation won. Fast forward to today. The tactics change but the principles remain. Stand together or fall alone. Know your enemy. Prepare for the worst. Protect your community. These aren't just lessons from 1952. These are timeless strategies for anyone facing overwhelming opposition. Bumpy Johnson proved that intelligence defeats force, that unity defeats terror, that one prepared man with 43 loyal friends defeats 12 armed cowards. If you made it this far, you understand this isn't just a story about a gangster and the Klan. This is a story about what's possible when people refuse to be victims. When they organize. When they prepare. When they stand together despite fear. The Klan thought they were invincible. They thought their white robes and burning crosses gave them power. Bumpy Johnson taught them a lesson they never forgot. Symbols only have power if people fear them. That night, Harlem stopped fearing. Before I finish, let me tell you what happened to that wooden cross. The one wrapped in kerosene-soaked rags. The one meant to burn in Bumpy's hallway. Big Train took it home. Unwrapped it. Cleaned it. Turned it into a regular wooden cross. He gave it to his church. Mount Olivet Baptist Church on Lenox Avenue. That cross stood in that church for 41 years. Every Sunday, hundreds of people prayed beneath it. Most never knew its origin. But Big Train knew. And every time he looked at it, he remembered. Evil came to destroy. Faith transformed it into hope. That's the real magic of that night. The Klan brought weapons of terror. Harlem converted them into symbols of resistance. The Klan brought fear. Harlem responded with courage. The Klan brought division. Harlem answered with unity. In every way that matters, August 17, 1952 represents more than one man defending his home. It represents an entire community saying enough. So what can you do with this information? 3 things. First, hit that like button so this story reaches people who need to understand that fear is a choice. Second, comment what year you think communities stopped organizing like this and why. Third, subscribe because there are hundreds of stories like this that never get told. Stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Stories of communities that fought back. Stories that prove power belongs to the prepared. Bumpy Johnson died on July 7, 1968. He was 62 years old. Thousands attended his funeral. People from every corner of Harlem. From every walk of life. Criminals and priests. Gamblers and teachers. Numbers runners and shopkeepers. They came because Bumpy represented something bigger than crime. He represented protection. He represented power when power was scarce. He represented a man who stood up when standing up meant risking everything. The KKK knocked on Bumpy Johnson's door at 2 a.m. They never tried again. Not because Bumpy was the toughest. Not because he was the most violent. But because he was the smartest. He understood that the best fight is the one you win without throwing a punch. He understood that the strongest weapon is the one you never have to use. He understood that real respect comes from making your enemies think twice before they act. That's the legend of Bumpy Johnson. That's the night Harlem fought back. That's the story they don't teach in history class. But it's the story that matters. Because it proves that courage plus preparation plus community equals power. And power used wisely protects generations.